What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another YouTube video. I haven't brought the baby on the channel yet. Here's my baby. His name is James. And for those who don't know, this is my wife, Lily. We've been married coming up on 2 years now. All right, so in this video, I'm talking about how we've sold, it says 412 here, but it's actually significantly more than that. I think historically I've sold 600 copies of this program. And I sold the first like 30% at a $5,000 price, and then ended up being at an $8,000 price after some time. And I think it's like probably 600 copies now that we've sold of this program. And so what I wanted to do is just open up a really, sort of a high level video about like my overall approach to marketing and sales of my coaching programs online. Now, this is by far the outstanding best selling coaching program that I've ever had, but I have sold other coaching programs as well. I've actually made, hundreds of thousands of dollars with other verticals and other coaching programs. My first coaching program was helping wedding photographers grow their business. And then, my family and I, we kicked around doing a homeschool curriculum coaching program, help people homeschool their kids, which is really fun, and sold a little bit of that. And then, I've done one on self-image and the psychology of renewing your self-image, and got some clients into that. But by far, I would say that this is, the best seller for us. And the results have been really cool too. We've got some incredible client wins, people signing clients, first sale, you can see $7,200 sale, $15,000 day, pretty sweet, And so there's a way to go about selling a coaching program and marketing it online that is honestly pretty casual and doesn't take a lot of hype, doesn't take a lot of, complex marketing softwares. It's really just putting up content that is valuable to people, informational, educational, helpful, somewhat entertaining, and also talks about who you are so that people buy into the program and buy into the person. So I want to talk about that today. I'm going to pull up my iPad whiteboard. I'm going to reference some other stuff. It's going to be a longer video, but I'm going to talk about there's many different ways of marketing a coaching program, many different ways of selling a coaching program, and many different ways of delivering a coaching program. And if you follow this guide in full, my goal is that I make a video today that you don't really need to consume any of my other content. You don't even need to pay me anything. And you're going to have a really solid blueprint to have a multi-six or even maybe a seven-figure business, selling your thoughts and ideas and frameworks and working around your passion subjects and things that you genuinely do enjoy. So sorry, I'm just pulling up my iPad here. It's gonna be a really fun video. Let's start. So like I said, there's many different ways to attract an audience. Okay, there's many different ways to sell the program itself. There's many different ways to deliver the program itself. Okay, and so we're gonna kind of go into each of my favorite ways to go about this process, and we'll kind of take it from there. So it's gonna be a really fun video. So let's talk about on the outset. Let me stick with that diagram. Actually, that was quite helpful. Audience, selling, and delivering. So let's talk about audience growth for a second. Now, a lot of people think that they need to make a bunch of content or spend, years, creating content and becoming like an influencer in order to sell their coaching program. That's actually just not true. And we have clients in that program that I just showed you who have less than 2,000 Instagram followers or, hardly 100 YouTube subscribers and not much traction, but they're making 10, 20, 30 grand a month in sales volume. So really you have to see your job not as becoming an influencer, but as driving quality bookings onto your calendar or quality inquiries into your direct message or email or whatever you use to talk to people online that could convert into clients. So quality is not quantity here. A lot of people try and build a big audience, but you don't need a big audience. I've run a 7 and some years multi-7-figure coaching business that has been, depending on the month, anywhere from our worst months probably were like 30% profit, where I was doing a lot of expansion and trying a lot of new stuff. But some months, I did well over 150, even $200,000 in sales and put, 60, 70% of that as profit in the bank. So quantity does not beset quality here. Okay. So if you look at my YouTube channel, it says I have 30,000 subscribers at the moment, but the truth is it's probably more like 4,000 or 5,000 in this particular arena, because I've run this YouTube channel. If you scroll back on my channel, you can see that I have videos about tech decks, those little finger skateboards from way back in 2009. Okay, so I've been making YouTube videos for a long time about things that I enjoy, and content creation has always been something that I enjoy doing. So I don't actually have 30,000. I probably have, and even if you go to my Instagram, it says 60,000 followers, but that's not even true either. At some point, somebody bought a bunch of fake followers for us, and it threw off my algorithm and everything, which is unfortunate. But so I actually probably realistically have maybe a couple thousand people that pay attention to my content and my message on the internet, and yet I have a 7-figure business off the back of that. So I want you to understand that that's kind of how content works. Now, in order for content to be potent, and when I Potent means it's driving clients into your ecosystem. It's getting you clients. It has to have a couple things. And this is a framework that I've taught for a very, very long time. And this is, how you make content that actually makes you money. The first is it has to describe who you are, your backstory, your character, your just the things that make you up. What are the things that make you up? Like for me, it's my faith. It's the other interests that I have outside of my business. It's my new fatherhood in my marriage. It's being into watches and having $20,000 watches and stuff, and it's travel, and it's these things that I enjoy doing. So I have me. That's like the leading thing. Then I have my new opportunity. So this is the way that I teach people to run coaching businesses. And then I have my cause. And my cause over the years has shifted a little bit. So let me focus on this for a sec before I skip on. New opportunity means your mechanism, the thing that you teach. So, like, for example, you got Jordan Peterson. His new opportunity, his mechanism would be something like self-responsibility and self-assessment, something like that. Or you could look at an individual like Tony Robbins, and his mechanism could be NLP, or, something like that. You get the idea. So you got this opportunity or this thing that you push, and then you have a cause or a reason why you're doing it that you communicate as well. And for me, I want people to have businesses that serve them, and I want people to live lives that they're satisfied with. And, I'm not perfect. I've made plenty of mistakes, and I've lost a ton of money, but I've also made a ton of money, succeeded wildly and failed wildly. But at the same time, I have a life that I'm really, really proud of. I'm really proud of the amount of money that I make and how much freedom I can grant, my family and the ways that I can give and the people that I serve as well. And so I want people to have that same feeling. I want people to have, a well-balanced life where, they have everything going for them. They've got a career that they love that makes them a ton of money. They've got, a personal life that's fulfilling to them as well. And they have things outside of that they enjoy, the hobbies and things that they can do. And they have a sense of freedom, and they can do work that really aligns with them. So that's really what I want for people. So you got to communicate these things in your content subtly and intentionally. How do you communicate these things? So whenever you're looking at your content, think about that framework and working into your content. Let's say it's a short 10-minute video. How do you work in little pieces of this message into that, intentionally throughout the piece of content? You can see that I've even done this today. Like, not to get too meta with you, but started off with my wife and kid. That's a big part of my life. I probably spend significantly more time with my wife and kid than I do with the computer working on stuff. So it's I'm not gonna pretend like I work all the time, So I communicate that and I lead with that, and then talking about my values and things like that. Or if it's a short 30-second reel for Instagram, how do I work in from this, what I call the trifecta of influence? That's what I've always called it. How do I work in little pieces of this here and there? And what that does is it just drives people down your funnel, drives people into being more trusting of you, and it also pushes away the wrong people too. That's the cool thing about it, is it pushes away people who wouldn't be too happy about the way that you do things, or the mechanism that you teach, or the things that you preach. And there's one other framework that I really like for content. This is one that a buddy of mine showed me, and I've stuck with it since. And this is this idea that inside of this marble, a slab is your ideal customer. And with each piece of content, what you're doing is you're just chipping away at this slab and breaking the beliefs and changing the perspective of your ideal customers. Taking a slab out there, slab out there, slab out there, taking a slab out right here, until you've refined your customer. If they've watched 2-3 hours of your content, they're going to make an awesome client because they think like you think now. They see the world like you see it, and they process things like you process them. And that means that they're ready to, push the relationship deeper with an investment. Okay, that's another great framework for content, how to think about content. So, but you do not need a big audience. This idea that you need a big audience in order to sign clients just is not true. Now, this is the other route. Now, this is kind of organic. I've talked about organic marketing here and my organic philosophy kind of at this stage. I want to talk a bit about my paid philosophy, paying for ads. I've actually spent well over $1 million of my own dollars on paid advertising to grow my business. And, I've never lost money on ads. I have, in some cases, broken even on ads. But what's nice about it is I end up building a list. I've got a pretty sizable email list now, and a lot of people who follow me online who I hear all the time, people are like, oh, I'm on your email list. I don't know how I ended up on it. I'm like, it's probably because you clicked on one of my ads. People know my name, and I've got a little bit of brand reach, and a lot of that has to do with ads. So my philosophy with ads looks something like this. Let's just talk about it for a second. Paid advertising. My philosophy is if you can break even on the front end and then get people into your middle of funnel ecosystem, where you have great content, where you have, we're going to start doing some more live workshops for people, like either free or cheap, like probably like $200 or even free, like $17. I don't really know, but just free stuff, something in the middle of the funnel. So what we're doing now is, for us, we're just running ads straight to products. So we run ads right to products. And then these products, we break even on the cost to get a buyer. And the product itself is actually quite good. Like we've got one right now where we're going to show people how to move from one-on-one delivery into group delivery of their coaching program. And I'm going to have a ton of other products too, and I can brainstorm tons. And I've written the sales pages for this, written the ads, and I'm actually launching this today. So the idea is I turn a dollar into a dollar. Okay, I break even on my cost to get a client or a customer, and I push them to my middle of funnel. And the middle of funnel also includes the content that's in this product. So if the content is good, as long as it's not a bad product, then you're probably going to create an ascension later, somebody who's willing to buy your stuff. And so, this is a model that I'll be teaching my clients as I scale it out for my business. The other model that I have for paid, that's one model that I have for paid. The other model is literally running ads right to your middle of funnel. So this could be your YouTube, your Instagram, or your Facebook group, or your podcast, or whatever. And what's cool about this is these ads tend to stand out quite well in our market, where a lot of people are trying to sell you something, or get you registered for something, or get your name on your phone and your email, or whatever from their ads. This ad's literally just like, hey, I've got nothing for sale. Just come check out this content where I cover this topic and you can reach this outcome with it. And this has worked really well for us as well. I've spent probably $200,000 on ads to grow my YouTube channel, and that worked really well. I've spent probably $100 on ads to grow my Instagram, and that worked pretty well as well. And so the idea behind this is you're just treating your content like a funnel, okay? And you're following the philosophy that I drew out here, the trifecta of influence, chipping away at the marble block to create an ascension later. And if you run ads to this middle of funnel, you can create that consistent growth. And the reason we run ads and we don't rely on the organic algorithm is, honestly, the organic algorithm is great. And if you can get organic reach, that's great. But the problem is, I've found that I need to create content with the algorithm in mind. And creating content with the algorithm in mind and my ideal customer in mind, so customer and algorithm at the same time, is really difficult and maybe impossible, unless you're willing to totally shift your business model to one that serves people who, aren't as, aware of what it is that you're talking about, right? So like if I wanted to start a make money online offer and help people start e-commerce stores or something, YouTube organic marketing could kill it. Maybe that's a false belief of mine. Maybe that's my own perspective, but that is how I see it. And so if I can get the organic push, that's great. And I've had videos that get organic reach and go really far and get me bookings and get me clients, but I don't bank on it. I make videos that are designed to warm people up. And if they get a lot of reach, that's great. That's actually ideal, but I'm not trying to optimize for that. So that's high level how I think about audience building organically, and high level how I think about paid advertising. And I'll be going deeper into, how I do these things and everything later. If you want me to make more videos and go more in depth, I'm more than happy to. The second rung of this framework is, actually enrolling clients. So enrollment. How do we enroll clients? Well, there's really two ways to enroll clients. The first is sales calls, and the second is just DM selling. So having people just message you. And if you do your content right, you're going to get people who are warmed up and just message you and say, hey, I want to get started. Like I'm just coming out of a sabbatical month now, so I didn't enroll them then. But throughout August, which was my sabbatical month, I took a whole month off. I had 5 or 6 people, maybe 7 people reach out and be like, hey, I'm ready to go. Like, what's the cost? And I'm like, hey, ready to get you started. Come September 1st, we can chat about it. And that's just because my content is just really dialed in. And so I have these messages, people like, hey, what does it take to get started? So, which is cool. And I usually get those on Instagram, but I'll get them on Facebook too, but mostly Instagram. So how do I go about this, and how can you go about this? Sales calls or DM selling? Well, let's talk about sales calls first. I have a great video, a really, really good video, and I can go in depth, high level on this video on how to do sales calls, but I'll have my editor link it somewhere or put it on the screen now. It's a video where I talked about the 6 stages of a high ticket $2,000 to $10,000 or $30,000 coaching program sale over the phone. And this is revealing, honestly, the same sales script that I've trained my clients on that has earned them, I showed some of those wins at the beginning of the video. They're all following that same sales process, but because it's free, because it's on YouTube, you're not going to value it as much, so you're not going to do it. So I'm just giving it away. And that's the same philosophy I hope that you have, is hold nothing back. But that video is I think it's about 40 minutes long. And you're going to get a really good idea of the sales framework that I've taught now for years that has earned my clients untracked millions. Okay, now this is not a tracked number, but it probably is well above the 8-figure level in total revenue earned for my clients. People that are running to the $20,000 a month businesses, all the way up to clients of mine that are running $500,000 a month or even $1 million a month businesses. So that's pretty cool. okay? And I want you to click on that and go watch that if you're interested in sales calls. The other framework is the DM selling framework, and this is actually relatively simple. All you're going to do is you're just going to write up a simple document that details everything that your program covers. The key things is that you talk about other clients and what they've achieved, if you have them. If you don't, that's fine. You can skip that part. You talk about what's included, how long it lasts, what the outcome that they can achieve is if they follow all the work, and then any guarantees if you have them. And then you just have the invoice at the very bottom. So right here, you link an invoice for them to pay. And so when somebody DMs you and says, hey, like I'm interested in getting started, you just link them this doc. And what you'll do is you'll make, 3 to 10 versions of this doc and just kind of test which ones work the best. And if the doc doesn't sell them, get them on the phone and do the job. You know what I mean? But what's nice is as you start to develop this doc, it'll start to do a lot of that work for you and you'll alleviate yourself of a lot of that time you're spending on the phone selling your program. And so with my doc alone, if I really wanted to, if I really just wanted to push content, I could probably do $1 million a year in sales just with this doc and just with people messaging me and saying they want to get started, which is really cool. Those are the two models. And if you want a deeper training on this, let me know because this is something I've never really gone into, but I do think it could be really helpful. So that's enrollment. Now, I believe that good marketing leads to easy enrollments. Bad marketing leads to hard enrollments. So I really put a lot of my eggs in my marketing basket. Okay, I really try hard to market well, not to just sell well. So far we've covered audience creation, we've covered paid ads and organic audience creation. I've talked a bit about, how to run ads to break even on your cost and build a good middle of funnel that gets people interested, creating content that drives conversion. Talked about the sales call framework that you can learn here on my channel if you go and check it out. Talked about the different means of enrollment, DM enrollment. And so I hope that this has been a valuable video. You're welcome to take a pause, leave a positive comment below, and maybe share this on your Instagram story or something else like that, if you tag me, I'd love to share that. Now I'm going to talk about the different forms of delivery of your program. So let's talk about how to deliver your program, okay? I'm going to start a new tab here because this is getting kind of messy. So let's talk about delivery for just a minute. Now, at the end of the day, every delivery model works. It's more so the quality with which you execute the delivery model that matters. And quality of delivery of a coaching program, I think, is the degree to which you've thought through your client's problems and pains and solved them. So, I don't necessarily think that there's any one right or wrong means of delivery, one-on-one or a group or a course or in person or whatever. It doesn't really matter. What matters is your ability to quickly diagnose and solve client problems. That's it. If you have this skill or your team has this skill, your delivery is going to be good. Honestly, whether it's one-on-one or it's group, it doesn't necessarily matter. Okay, so people get hung up on the model, whereas they really should be getting hung up on their expertise. Do you actually have expertise? Can you, if you sat down with somebody for 40 minutes and just listened and understood their situation, write up a good solution to their problem? If you can't do this, then, you either need to think about your market or think about a different angle, or you really shouldn't be thinking so much about one-on-one or a group. You should probably be thinking about, that skill set first. But let's talk about this. There's really a few models. There's one-on-one, and then there's group, and then I wasn't really talking about it earlier, but then there's like hybrid, where you're kind of doing a little bit of both. And, I've kind of done the hybrid model for a long time now, but I'll be switching back to pure group shortly because I really just think that, it's the ideal model because I'm going to start doing in-person stuff too, and that'll help a lot. So one-on-one, this is fairly simple. I like to sell, and I think this is probably the best way to do one-on-one. First of all, set a clear end date. Do not do these like unlimited calls, hit me whenever you want. Like that's going to destroy your business. Okay, people, I'm telling you, if you're doing that, then your marketing and your positioning is not good enough and you're making up for it with your time. And when you make up for it with your time, you're going to hit a ceiling really quickly on your earnings and that's going to really hurt later. So do not do that. That's really painful. I like to do a 2 to 4 month thing where they have minimum a bi-weekly call. So bi-weekly call. And what they can do is they can set up a bonus call whenever they need, or up to like 1 or 2 a month within 48 hours. So plus 1 call, 1 to 2, as long as they give me 48 hours notice. Okay. And, I've priced my one-on-one from anywhere from 10 grand, depending on what somebody's at, all the way up to 50 grand. okay? Because my one-on-one time is extremely valuable because I could be working on all kinds of stuff. But when somebody signs up for my one-on-one, I've often been able to help them reach, 6 figures a month in sales for their coaching business. So I price on the outcome, not the time. Price on the outcome, not the time. Remember, rich people get paid not for how hard they work. Rich people don't get paid for how hard they work. Rich people get paid for the outcomes that they drive. So your ability to drive outcomes is the determining factor in your pricing model. If in 1 hour, I can sit down with somebody and I can shine a gleaming light on exactly what their problem is in their business, that 1 hour could probably be worth for them that year 20 grand, 30 grand, So what I'm trying to do is help you understand, your time is not what you're selling. You're selling the outcome of somebody having followed the process that you're guiding them down. So let's move on. That's one-on-one. Group, the same pricing philosophy applies, except instead of driving the outcome with just your time, you're using some other forms of leverage. So one of the coolest forms of leverage with group is if you cultivate your community properly, you build this environment where people serve each other as well as you serving them. So it becomes this interconnected thing where, yes, you can pour into this community and serve them and give them great ideas and lead great group calls and stuff, but naturally some leaders will start to pop up. This guy or this gal or this person, they'll start to pop up and start to get some good results. What you want to do is just give them that spotlight and let them lead. Give them group calls. People love giving back. If they've really created results, then they're going to love helping out within your community. And I've done this quite a bit, and it's really cool. It's very fulfilling to watch somebody come in and, they were doing 10 grand a month. Now they're doing 50 or 100 or whatever. And we lead a group call and they come in and they teach what they've learned. And it's so satisfying because it's both, alleviating of the pressure of me to be perfect, which is impossible and you're going to burn out if you're building a model where all roads lead back to you. That's really dangerous. And also, it's satisfying just watching people develop. I think probably one of the reasons why people are attracted to the coaching business model in the first place is they love helping people. Okay, and so if you love helping people, this is really satisfying because it's like watching somebody who you've poured into now pour into others. And some people are afraid of creating their own competition by doing this stuff. And I have an abundance mentality when it comes to this. I don't really care about that. So let's talk about now hybrid. So hybrid is when you mix one-on-one with group, and this is probably the best model to scale if you're trying to do multiple 6 figures a month or even $1 million a month in total sales. Usually what you like to do is you like to have a ramp up period. So how I see it is like this. Imagine the client's moving from left to right. And imagine these lines here represent the context with which they're executing your program. So, meaning little context and then high context. Context meaning the quality of their decisions as they move through your program. So I like to have a lot of one-on-one towards the start. So they get a one-on-one onboarding call, a check-in call their first month, a little bit, and then it kind of tapers down as they get involved in the group. Because now the group becomes more valuable because they know how to use the calls, they know where to go in the program or the course. And so my hybrid philosophy is give them a lot of support at the start, get them up to speed, and then as they develop higher and higher context, the group becomes more valuable to them and they need it less and less. And so that's kind of how I think about hybrid, okay? And what you're trying to do is you got to accept that you're going to start off with lower momentum at the start. They're not going to have a lot of success, but they're going to slowly be like, oh, this is what I have to do, or oh, this is how I solve this problem, or oh, this is the exercise I've got to focus on, or whatever it is that you do for your clients. Now they've got high context and then they're successful and, I wrote a money sign there, but they're successful. And then this is when you can, have them come back and lead your community alongside you, And so for pricing models, with the group model, it is wise to build in some sort of a recurring revenue component because it's going to start to get pretty difficult for you. And I've made this mistake where the first 150 to 200 clients I signed up, we had no recurring revenue baked into the pricing model. It was just a one-time payment and then they didn't pay anything else. And it can start to be really tricky when you have, a group of 50 clients that are all still on group calls, all still expect certain support lines from you, but you're making no money from that. So, for the first, 50 or so or 100 or so, you could do the upfront rate because that's going to help you, get to a certain cash position that gives you some more flexibility. But once you're at a certain cash position, 100, 200, 300 grand in the bank or whatever is important to you, start to think about the long term of your business. And so this is a shift that I've been making over the past couple months where, we start to do more live events, start to have more recurring revenue, and just start start to be more supportive over the long term with our clients and start to build, 50, 80, 100, ideally even like $250,000 a month in like recurring revenue long term. That's super long term, but that'd be a really cool place to be. And that incentivizes me to continue running my group. And people will say, oh, but Trey, don't you care about your clients? It's like, of course I care about my clients. That's why I want to build in a revenue model where I can keep serving them without my kid not knowing me, or without being able to not take my family on trips, and without, burning myself into the ground. There's a great book called Boundaries in Leadership, and I forget the name of the author, but you have to think about, when you're a coach, you're a leader, you're leading people, and if you don't have good boundaries with your leadership, then that's where I've seen a lot of coaching businesses go to die. The leader doesn't have good boundaries, and then the good financial boundaries or good time boundaries, and that's where you create something really dangerous for the leader. Is they're needed all the time everywhere. That's not what you want to build. And it takes longer to get to a 7 or multiple 7-figure level when you think like that. But you stay there longer too, because you've found opportunity for others to step up to the plate and lead alongside you. And it's a business that's more holistically good for everybody involved. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Super high level video. I could go more in depth later if you want me to. But this is how I've signed, $600, $5,000 to $8,000 clients for our lower tier program. And I just wanted to kind of give you my high level thoughts on how I go about this stuff, and keep consuming the content. I'll keep making valuable stuff, and I'm excited for a new month here and to move into new realms with you guys. And please leave some comments below about what other content would be valuable for you to consume. And I just want to be your favorite YouTube channel to grow your business. So keep coming back, and see you in the next one.